Hello everyone, you are all welcome to our week 3 design practice, and in today's class we are going to talk about layouts and flyer designs. But before I do that, who can remind me the assignment we had on our last class, the activity we did? Okay, yes, we talk about typography. Yes, we talk about how you can be able to design in CorelDRAW. We talk about fonts. Yes. Okay, so that's wonderful. So in today's class, we are going to talk about layouts and flyer design. How you can be able to create a layout and also create a very wonderful flyer design. So these are the topics we are going to cover today. Number one, we are going to cover flyer design structure, how you can be able to start a good structure when you want to design a flyer. And secondly, we are going to talk about spacing, alignment, and grids. And the third one we are going to do is we are going to talk about the importing and working with images, how you can be able to work with images and how you can be able to import image into your designs. So the first one is the flyer design structure. What is a flyer? This is an open discussion that I want us to have on what a flyer is. I believe most of you, this is not the first time that you are hearing on the word flyer, or you've come across this word flyer. Yeah, so we define flyer as a visual design that is being used to communicate information quickly about an event, business, or assignment. So whenever you see a flyer, it's communicating information. It's either you come across an event flyer which is trying to communicate an information regarding that event, or you come across a business flyer which is communicating an information regarding the business they are doing, and also an announcement flyer which totally is communicating an information, an announcement regarding a program, a training, or an activity that is going to happen. So this is what a flyer is. So why are flyers important here in Nigeria? Why is it important for us to learn about flyers? The first one is we use flyer for companies. When you look at companies, whether here in Nigeria or international companies, all of these companies use flyers. They either use flyer for advertisement, they use flyers to make an announcement regarding what they are doing in their company. So we use flyer for companies. And then the second thing is we use flyer for events, which is very, very important. If you have an event, as a creative, if a client have an event, you can be able to create a flyer for that person, which that person can be able to use to get more people who are going to register and join his or her event. And then we have a business promotion flyers. There are many businesses that are being promoted with the importance and the use of flyer. So if you use a flyer, you can be able to promote businesses. And then as a creative, you can be able to create a political campaign flyer, which is very, very important. When you see people going into politics, they look for creatives and then they want them to design flyers for them so that they can be able to use on their campaign programs and so on and so forth. And then we use them for social announcements. So flyers are one of the most important demanding design job in Nigeria. So if you know how to design a flyer, it's a very good thing, because of here in Nigeria, flyer is one of the most demandable design job. Each and every creative needs to know how to do it. So designing a flyer is very, very important. So the standard flyer structure. A professional flyer must include, number one, a heading line, that's the title, big and bold, captures attention immediately. Each and every flyer, it needs to have an headline. It needs to be big and then it needs to be bold for it to capture attention. And then secondly, a flyer has a main visual, image or background must support the message. You cannot be designing a flyer and then the image or the background of the flyer does not support the message you are passing. So if you are designing a flyer, it's in the structure and it's in the standard of that flyer for you to use the image and then the background that go in line with the words, with the message that flyer is trying to pass. And then the third one is the detail section. What, when, where, who. Very important. The 4W, what, where, when, and who. Whenever you are designing a flyer, it must be readable and then it must be very, very clear. You need to include all of these things. And then the fourth one, you need to have a place where we call to action, CTA. So at the end of your flyer, if someone goes through the flyer, maybe it's an event flyer or an eatery flyer. If I go through the flyer, I see everything you do, your what, where, when, and how. Then I will now look for a place where I can be able to contact you. I can be able to take the next step. The flyer does not only inform, it also makes somebody take that next step. So with that flyer, you can be able to get your clients calling, you can be able to get your clients registering, and then you can be able to get them joining your program with the flyer. So we have common mistakes whereby many people usually make whenever they are designing flyers. And whenever you see flyers around, you see such mistakes where we have too much text. On a flyer, any flyer that contains too much text, most of people don't usually go through the flyer because of the text is too much on that flyer, and then no clear focus. You can go through a flyer and then automatically you don't understand the message, or there is no focus where they are trying to get their destination on that flyer. And then poor hierarchy. We talk about hierarchy, the title, the heading, it needs to be very big and bold. So imagine the title, the heading of the flyer, it's very tiny. At the end of the day, whenever you go through the flyer, you will not even know what the heading is. So these are common mistakes many people usually make, or should I say many creatives usually make while designing a flyer. So the second thing we are going to talk about is spacing, alignment, and grids. Spacing. What is spacing? When we talk about spacing, spacing is the distance between elements in a design. Spacing is the distance that is between an element in your design. So we have the type text spacing, image spacing, margin spacing. So why does spacing matters? Why do we have to include spacing in talking about flyer? So in a flyer where there is no spacing, it makes your design unreadable. So it's very important because it makes your design to be readable. So without spacing, it cannot be readable. And then it creates balance. When you have proper spacing on your design, the design has a balanced structure. And then it prevents clutters. So spacing is very, very important on a design. And the B part is the alignment. We talk about spacing, and then now we are going to talk about alignment. Alignment means placing elements in order or structure. Placing each and every element in order or structure. we have types: left alignment, center alignment, right alignment, justified alignment. Whenever you have a text, you should align them. We have the left alignment, align them to the left, the center, the right, or justify them, just like you're writing a letter. So a golden rule here is that if it is not aligned, it looks unprofessional. That's the golden rule. You can have a very beautiful, a very wonderful design, but if it is not well aligned, if it's not aligned, it's not professional. It totally takes out the professionalism out of the design. So make sure your design have a very good alignment. Hope you are together with me. Okay, that's great. So the third thing we are going to talk about is the importing and working with images in a design. How can you import images? In CorelDRAW, let me give you steps on how you can be able to import images. You can take it down. Number one, you can click File, Import. Number two, you can be able to select image, click to place on canvas, resize using handle. You go to File, click Import, select an image, click to place on canvas, and then you can be able to resize the handles. And then the editing images. After importing your image, then you should resize. That is where the editing comes. You should resize the image the way you want. Do you want it big? Do you want it small? Do you want it large? So you can be able to resize your image. And then you can be able to crop unwanted parts. There are unwanted parts probably on your image where you can be able to crop them out during your edit. And then you can be able to adjust positions. There are positions that you can be able to adjust them. And then we have another powerful tool, which is the Power Clip. The Power Clip allows you to place image inside shape, create clean layouts, make professional designs. So on your workspace, if you create a shape, you can be able to use the Power Clip. Let's say you have an image and then you create a circle using the Eclipse. You can be able to Power Clip that image inside that circle using the Power Clip, so which is very easy for you to do. And then we have the transparency tool. The transparency tool is used to blend images with background. Let's say now you have a background and there is an image. You can be able to place images in front of the background by transparent that background image. You can be able to create smooth visuals, improve flyers, artistic, using the transparency tool. And the last one I'm going to talk about is the drop shadow effect. It adds depth, realism, professional look. So many people usually put a shadow in order for them to add realism on the design. So that is why we usually put a shadow effect on a design. So this is how you can be able to import and work with images. Hope you are getting me. So please, if you have a question, you can be able to drop your questions after the class, after the session. We'll go through the questions so that we can be able to answer them, and then we'll have a wholesome understanding at the end of the training. Thank you. So the key design rules for flyers. Number one key design rule, take it down, is that you should one main focus only. You should have one main focus only. Whenever you are designing a flyer, it's supposed to be a one main focus. Another rule is that you should have a strong headline first. If people look at your flyer, make sure that flyer has a very strong headline, and then there is a balanced spacing. In your design, make sure you have a well balanced spacing, proper alignment. Alignment is very important. Remember, we say when a design does not have alignment, it's not professional. So when you want to achieve a professional design, make sure you have a proper alignment. And the last golden rule of a flyer is that you should have high quality images. You are designing a flyer and then the image you use does not have a very high quality. which it totally makes your design look less professional also. So make sure your design has a very high quality images whenever you want to use images on your design. So there is another practical task that I want you to engage yourself in. We say practice makes perfect. So that is why in every classes we do, you engage yourself on practicals so that you can be able to refresh your mind, and if you have questions you can be able to drop them. You can be able to say, oh wow, I tried this out and this is what I've been able to achieve after the practice. So what you are going to do on the practical design on this week 3 is you are going to create a professional event flyer in CorelDRAW. You create a professional event flyer in CorelDRAW, and then you are going to, the requirement, is you are going to use a strong headline. Make sure the headline you are using is strong. One main image, get an image that it's going to be used. One, clear event details. Make sure you have a clear event details on the flyer. Proper spacing and alignment. Make it professional, don't make it unprofessional. So maintain proper spacing and alignment, and then use this tool, Power Clip, or the transparency tool. Power Clip an image inside a circle and see how it looks, which is a very great tool to use. And then at the last of your flyer, at the end of your design, the last part, you can be able to add the CTA, that's the call to action. So this is what you are going to do as your practical tasks. So in summary, by the end of this lesson, I'm expecting each and every one of you here to be able to design a flyer structure used in Nigeria. You should be able to understand a flyer structure that is being used in Nigeria, and then you should be able to know the importance of spacing in design. Why is spacing important? And then you should be able to understand the alignment principles. You should know how you can be able to create improved quality, how to import and edit images in CorelDRAW, and then how to create a professional flyer. So this comes to the end of our today's training, which I believe each and every one of you have had a wholesome understanding on how you can be able to create a wonderful flyer. So I would love to see you on our next class with your own professional flyer design. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.